Next up in the Brüel Kjær equipment is this Type 4440 gating system. Obviously it's got a power switch problem. This is, from what I can gather, used for testing loudspeakers without the need for an anechoic chamber. So what they do is this thing takes a tone but only lets through a short burst of the tone to the amplifier, which would be connected to it on driving the loudspeaker, and it starts the burst on the start of a zero crossing going positive. So it starts off at the zero level always for a certain period and then cuts it. So the microphone will receive the signal before any reflections have come back off the rest of the room. So you don't need an anechoic chamber that has no reflections, because this thing just turns off the microphone before the reflections get there. And also there's distortions at the start of the burst in the loudspeaker and at the end. So you can fiddle these controls to get it to find a window where you're just listening to a short portion of the burst from the loudspeaker once it's started up, before it stops and before any echoes have reached the microphone. And then you can test your frequency response or distortion or whatever of your loudspeaker from that. That's what I understand it does anyway. Here's the setup for this gating contraption. Once again, needs all this other equipment around it, but there's the gating module, this thing sitting there, and it controls when the sound gets from the sine generator to the power amplifier and therefore the speaker. And it does it, if you look down here at the waveforms, it switches on the positive going zero crossing. You don't turn it on when the signal's at its peak. You wait till it's at the zero crossing. And yeah, as you can see, it gets pretty complicated. So we'll just go through it pretty quickly. I've got no way of testing it, so I'll try and, this bloody knob doesn't want to turn. Yes, it does. He's not releasing that properly, so I think I'll have to undo these two screws here to get inside of it. So I'll do that. Okay, get the sides off. He's a bit dinged up down there, isn't he? Fuck, it's been dinged up everywhere. I guess that's what happens when you throw equipment into dumpsters. It may get damaged. It's just not coming. Alright, so what's in there? There's our power switch. Looks like it just needs a nut on the outside. Power supply along the back. Looks like a couple of, three sets of switchable capacitor banks, presumably for setting the length of the window that you're gating. And yeah, more power supply along here. And electronics along here. So that's all I'll do for that. These B&K teardowns haven't been as interesting as I thought they might, mainly because you need to, there's bugger all information available on them, and they often seem to need other equipment like this, the power amplifier, the distortion thing I had before. They all have to be interconnected in a test setup, so you might have half a dozen pieces of equipment required, and this is only one of them, which is not much use by itself. Alright, I'll put him back together, and well, that was just a really quick and dirty teardown. Hope you liked it. Give it a like if you did. Thanks. Catch you later.